So the Elimination Chamber just came to an end. And for a pay per view that I'll be honest, I wasn't really excited for or looking forward to, I thought, all right, there'll be a couple of good matches. I'm looking forward to the Chamber matches themselves. But man, this show over delivered, at least when it counted, when it had to. Let's talk about the opening match, the first ever, supposedly, first ever women's tag team championships. It was an elimination chamber match. We had Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Mandy Rhodes and Sonya Deville, Naomi and Carmella, which is a very random and put together tag team, and very awkward hearing Corey Graves do commentary for a Carmella match for obvious reasons, or maybe not if you don't already know. The Riot Squad, the Iconics, and Nia Jackson Tamina. Now, I went into this fully expecting to be let down, fully expecting to get screwed and have Nia Jackson Tamina win. And I would have been so pissed, so upset, but that's what WWE seems to like to do nowadays. Piss off the fans and have the people that we hate the most win all the time. So, once again, I fully expected this, but I loved how this match went about. I loved how much time they gave the women. This went on for a long time. Maybe some people might say too long, but no, I was perfectly fine with it. I loved the length. I loved it. It truly made these belts feel important, and you had to. It was the inaugural reign, crowning. You had to make them seem worth it. You had to make these women feel like they're going to do everything to win it, to earn it. Naomi and Carmella were the first to be eliminated. So there you go. Naomi seems like she's getting the shaft a lot of the times currently in the women's division. It was nice to see Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville last as long as they did. Not because I love them as a tag team or anything, but because I think as a team, they make sense. The Iconics, I thought, was very amusing, very entertaining. I know some people don't love them, but I think their characters are great. So there you go. I was so happy and I howled. I cheered when Nia Jax and Tamina were eliminated. I couldn't have been more happy. And I love that they didn't have them be one of the last two teams. It works for me because you have that big high, you have that big excitement, and then you just see these two teams go at it and see who's going to win. And as much as I was hoping Sasha and Bayley were going to win, who knows? Vince McMahon back there could love Mandy Rose so damn much that I wouldn't have been surprised if they had won. But Sasha and Bayley did get the W, did get the win. Sasha with a new innovative way to do the bank statement, and she made Sonya tap out. This was great. I love the crowd's reaction to it. You deserve it. The post-match interview where Sasha was just overjoyed, overwhelmed, and this was great. If you're gonna have new champions in this division, I think these two girls have earned it. They're most loved. Finally, it was a feel-good win for somebody. Next up were, again, tag team titles, this time the SmackDown tag team titles. Shane McMahon and The Miz defending against the Usos. I was unsure about the winners of this match, possibly because of Jimmy Uso being arrested over the weekend for some dumb stuff. And so I thought, well, who knows? Maybe they'll just teach the Usos a lesson. WWE have been known to do this once or twice, but the match itself was fine. I do feel like when I watch a Shane McMahon match, as much as I am impressed that he's willing and capable and able to do some of these high spots and some of these crazy moves, especially at his age, it's insane. It is. It's insane. It's more to be commended. But at the same time, you do feel like if you've seen a Shane McMahon match at this point, you've seen them all. He does tend to lean into these spots, maybe a little too much, although it's still impressive every time. I like the story that they told where Miz had Shane do that elbow spot through the table, and then that left him alone with, I think, Jimmy Uso, and it looked like Miz was going to get the win, and then the Uso rolled him up, and they won the belts. 6-time tag team champions. Uh, so there you go. I don't know if this is going to lead to Miz and Shane breaking up. They had a nice backstage segment where Miz was upset with himself. He announced before the match that him and Maurice are going to have their second child. So, oops, sucks to lose on that same night. Next up, Intercontinental Championship match, Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush versus Finn Balor. Honestly, this match was fine. I wasn't doing backflips over this one. Bobby Lashley, he's big, and I guess that's all that matters to a guy like Vince McMahon. I never really find myself getting fully engaged in Bobby Lashley matches anymore. Finn Balor, I'm always into. I hate Lio Rush. I do. The guy is annoying, and I know he's a heel, and he's the hype man, so he's supposed to be that annoying. But man, he can ramble on, he can talk trash, but to a point where I want to wring his neck. I love, though, that Finn Balor pinned Lio Rush and won the title. First time winning the Intercontinental title. And I like that Bobby Lashley turned on Lio Rush. I mean, maybe for his promos, it's not the best move to have him turn on Lio. But who knows? Maybe he'll take him back, or maybe he'll get a new mouthpiece. We shall see. The Raw Women's Championship match. Ronda Rousey defending against Ruby Riott. I was pretty upset with this match. I was. And not because I expected Ruby Riott to win the belt. Clearly I didn't. And I don't think there was one person out there who expected her to win this match. I just thought that she deserved better, that this match should have been a lot more competitive, that Ronda squashing her like this just didn't serve the purpose. I think you could have made Ruby look strong. You could have even had it to where maybe Ronda was distracted by Charlotte being out there, and that's why Ruby was able to do better or get some moves in there. It seemed like she was there. She took all of Ronda's big moves and then tapped out quick, and it was just like, all right, well, what was the point of even having this match? Seriously. I know Charlotte came up before the match to talk trash because that's what she does best. And as she was out there, she went to the ring. Out came Becky Lynch. And I'm loving Becky Lynch. I am. I mean, I hate what the McMahons have been doing to her, making her apologize, suspending her for 60 days, replacing her in the Mania match with Charlotte. I should have made a video after that Raw because of how pissed off I was and how angry I was that Becky was out and Charlotte was in. Obviously, I think it's going to build towards a triple threat, but I still would prefer a one-on-one match between Ronda and Becky. I'm sure like what most people would prefer. I did like that Becky came out on the crutches because of what happened over the live event. I guess she's not as hurt as she initially looked, but she still is a little hurt. She took the crutches and beat the holy hell out of Charlotte, which was great. I'll never get sick of Charlotte getting her ass kicked. And then Ronda, looked like Ronda took a crutch and she was going to maybe face off with Becky, but then Becky said, hey, have Charlotte. Ronda was about to attack Charlotte, and then Becky went after Ronda. That was great. And even one moment where she hit Ronda in the side of the head and looked like she busted her open. Ouch! That was pretty brutal. And I'm curious what we're going to do here. Becky has been suspended so many times, but yet she keeps showing back up that I don't know what the plan is. I would love for at Fastlane, if you make Becky versus Charlotte one-on-one, winner fights Ronda one-on-one. I don't want a triple threat. I know why they want to have Charlotte in there. She gets good heat. That's true. And she is a great wrestler. I'm not denying that or taking that away from her. But I feel like for the first ever women's WrestleMania main event, for this big story between Becky and Ronda and what they've been building towards, a one-on-one match is what we need. A one-on-one Becky beating Ronda clean by herself. That would be huge for her and her career and her man character. It should happen, but it probably won't. Next up was probably the bathroom break moment of the show. It was a no DQ match. Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman. And I like Braun Strowman, but man, does it feel like this guy has cooled off big time. I remember thinking that there was no way this guy wasn't going to be Universal Champion at some point sooner rather than later, but I don't know. They never had him beat Brock Lesnar. They never wanted him to beat Brock Lesnar. The last match that he had with Brock, where Brock just killed him, destroyed him, squashed him, I just haven't looked at Braun the same since. And in this match, since it was no DQ, I feel like they could have done a lot more. They could have gone backstage. They could have been more creative and had some crazy spots. I know that maybe I'm just going off of nostalgia with the old school Attitude Era hardcore matches and how they would always end up in the bathrooms or on the streets. I just wish that we did more stuff like that, even if once in a while. And then you had Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley interfere, so I guess this is going to be a faction going forward. And they did the old Shield triple powerbomb spot, which I guess why not, because Dean Ambrose is leaving, so you might as well just steal the move and give it to a new 3-trio group. And then having Baron Corbin pin Braun Strowman. I know it was interference, I know it was no DQ, I know it was cheating, but still, Corbin should not be the guy pinning Braun Strowman right now. If anything, if you were going to have Strowman lose to one of these three guys, McIntyre would have been the guy. And I wouldn't have minded if it was McIntyre and Strowman maybe at WrestleMania or at some point soon, but I just didn't understand this booking. I didn't understand where the hell Kurt Angle was, or Finn Balor, because if Lashley could come out twice, why couldn't Balor come out? Like, we've already established that Strowman was teaming with Kurt Angle and Balor against these guys, so to have nobody help him seemed weird. Then Lacey Evans randomly comes out just to remind us that she's still there, although I'm still not very impressed with her. And the main event, woo! This was a main event indeed. WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. Daniel Bryan with his great hemp belt, I love it, versus Randy Orton versus AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy versus Samoa Joe versus Kofi Kingston. I, for one, am glad that Brock Lesnar was not on this show, because we finally got the SmackDown guys to main event a pay-per-view. We finally got the WWE Championship to main event a pay-per-view. And this match delivered. This match was great. Daniel Bryan starting the match, going the distance. I mean, it's Daniel Bryan. Of course he's going to put on a great performance. A little upset to see Samoa Joe be eliminated first, but that just seems to be the trend with Joe. The crowd loves him. He's super believable. He is a badass, but yet he gets beat all the damn time. Jeff Hardy with a great swanton bomb spot that I've never seen before onto AJ Styles in the corner of the turnbuckle, and then he immediately gets eliminated by Bryan. AJ Styles, who I love, my current favorite wrestler in WWE, I thought the spot was great where he went for that springboard forearm, and then Randy Orton catches him with an RKO out of nowhere. I know Orton does this. It's what he does. It's what he's known for. But still, every time he does a new way, a new version of the RKO, I'm still impressed. I still love it. And then Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston eliminates Randy Orton, which reminded me of, how long ago was that? Like 8 or 9 years ago, when Kofi had that feud with Randy Orton, and he was doing pretty well until Orton squashed him and killed him dead. And Kofi hasn't been the same since. He's been stuck in mid-card purgatory. But this was, look, I know Mustafa Ali was going to have the spot, and the crowd probably would have been cheering Mustafa and been all for a newer guy getting a push like that. But it wouldn't have meant as much. It wouldn't have felt as impactful as Kofi being in the spot. Him with the history, as long as he's been there. I loved how hot the crowd was for him. I haven't seen a crowd into a main event like this in years. I really haven't. I feel like if Kofi won the title, the crowd would have erupted. People would have cheered and just a riot in a good way. And you know what? I really wish that they did have Kofi win. I think he deserved it. I think it's you'll never get the crowd cheering for Kofi like they were tonight. It was the best time to do it, but Daniel Bryan got the win. So guys, not every match on this show was great. He had some duds in there, but I think the 2 chamber matches delivered. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the show. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!